Basically, files are saved in a different way on an SSD drive than on a HDD. Writing and deleting data from an SSD, writing data on an SSD. Let's take a look. In order to prevent the leaky memory cells from occurring, the software that controls where files are saved tries to prevent the same block in semiconductor memory from being used repeatedly. It does so by ensuring that every time a file is modified, it is written to a different physical locations across the whole of the SSD, selected at random. This technique is called wear leveling. This is extremely important, alright? So I will repeat, in order to prevent the leaky memory cells from occurring, the software that controls where files are saved tries to prevent the same block in semiconductor memory from being used repeatedly. It does so by ensuring that every time a file is modified, it is written to different physical locations across the whole of the SSD. Okay? It wants to write them on different locations. To different locations. It wants to do it. It wants to fragment. So SSD are designed to be fragmented, right? Asked Rupert slightly incredulously. Yes. So the good news for a user is that there is no need to ever defrag an SSD. In fact, even if it could be done, it would be counterproductive because an SSD is designed to take a scattergun approach to storing data across the whole drive. However, the bad news for private detectives is that it is much more likely that a previously deleted file will be partially overwritten and that it is much harder to piece together a file if the locations of the constituent clusters are lost. This is very important. It is much more likely that a previously deleted file will be partially overwritten and that it is much harder to piece together a file if the locations of the constituent clusters are lost. And if this is not bad enough, a memory cell can only be written to when it is empty. Okay, a memory cell can only be written to when it is empty. So this is very important. The memory cell, if it's not empty, it cannot be overwritten. This is crucial, guys. This is crucial. A memory cell can only be written to when it is empty. This is super important. Okay? Because it's not like on the HDD that you can write on a cluster that is not empty. You can overwrite it. No. It has to be empty before you can write something on it. This is the main difference. This is what nobody explains. This is not what nobody talks about. The main principle is that you have to really make sure it is empty before you can write anything on it. Before a file is written to a cluster, the entire contents of that cluster are erased so that the write operation can then be carried out. This is a completely different concept. With the HDD, you can actually write on the cluster even if it's not empty. It doesn't have to be empty. You just overwrite it. It's not a problem. Not with the SSD. It's a completely different concept. Okay? I repeat, before a file is written to a cluster, the entire contents of that cluster are erased, completely erased, so that the write operation can then be carried out. This slows down write operations considerably. So to counteract this, many manufacturers provide SSD control software called trim. Alright, this is the software. The software is called trim. This software uses any quiet time, like any time that is not in operation, to garbage collect any unreferenced file fragments caused by the where leveling and proactively initialize these and other unallocated blocks of the SSD memory ready for writing. That really is a disaster for digital forensics, because once these areas of memory have been initialized, the data they once contained is lost forever. The trim function is lost forever. "This is terrible," cried Rupert. "And it gets even worse," said Gloria. "Unlike a traditional hard drive, just powering up an SSD, even one that has been removed from the computer, can allow the garbage collection routines on the SSD to continue. This means that the data on an SSD drive is continuously altered, making it difficult to use as evidence." "Can the garbage collector routines be disabled?" asked Rupert. Unfortunately not. There is even secrecy around the algorithms for rewriting files and where leveling, which makes it even more difficult for us to know how to find deleted files. This is just terrible stuff.